High in the mountains, a man died alone. No grave, no marker. No one to remember him. The cold closed in and the world moved on. He lived more than 5,000 years ago, moving through these mountains step by step. Everything he owned was on his body, a copper axe, clothing layered for wind and snow, nothing ornamental, nothing wasted. When he fell, there was no ritual, no burial. An arrow struck his back. He collapsed where the mountains narrowed, and the ice sealed him in place. Normally, time strips a body down to bone. Heat, moisture, bacteria, they erase the person first. But here, cold moved faster. It locked everything in before decay could begin. What remained was more than fragments. It was enough to attempt something almost never possible, not just to study how he lived, but to see him. This is Ötzi. Ice didn't mean to preserve him. It didn't choose him. It simply stopped time and left everything else untouched. But ice is rare. In most of the world, time leaves far less behind. In this landscape, time does not stop. Heat moves through the ground, water seeps in. Whatever is left behind slowly disappears. When a body is buried here, skin vanishes first, then muscle. Expression is the last thing to go, and the first thing we miss. What survives is never a person, only fragments. She lived near the coast more than 5,000 years ago. Her bones were found among shells and soil, disturbed by time and movement. There were no objects to tell her story, no clothing, no trace of how she looked in life. What remained was her skull, enough to measure proportions, enough to compare with others who lived in the same place at the same time. Not enough to be certain. This face is not preserved. It is assembled. Built from probability, population, and bone. It does not show us who she was, only who she might have been. For most of human history, this is all that remains. Not a record, but a reconstruction. A quiet attempt to return a face to someone time erased. And further inland, even bone was not always enough. Here nothing is hidden. The land stretches outward, open and exposed. Wind moves freely. Stone remains where it is placed. What happens here is meant to be seen. This woman was not lost to the earth. She was placed here deliberately beneath stone in a landscape that mattered. There was no attempt to conceal her, no effort to protect the body from time. Memory here came from position, not preservation. When her bones were uncovered, they offered few clues. No ornaments, no weapons, no markers of status, only a carefully placed body left to weather and time. From her skull, archaeologists could begin to estimate her life. She was unusually tall for her time. Her features could be mapped, measured, and compared. Enough to attempt a face, not preserved by nature but rebuilt from bone. The face that emerged challenged expectations, features that felt modern, familiar. Hard to reconcile with the images people carry of the Bronze Age. A reminder that assumptions rarely survive contact with evidence. The land remembered where she was placed, but it was her face that returned her to us. Elsewhere, memory was shaped not by land, but by power. This burial was not quiet. It was deliberate, arranged with care, meant to be noticed. The body was positioned, the ground prepared. At the neck, something was left behind that spoke before bone ever could. An amber necklace, smooth, warm to the touch, shaped and carried across great distance. Amber does not belong here. It came from far to the north, moving hand to hand long before roads or borders existed. Objects like this were not placed by chance. In Bronze Age Bohemia, amber signaled access to people, to exchange, to influence. It was not decoration. It was recognition, understood by anyone who encountered it. When burials like this are uncovered, bone alone tells very little. Objects change how the body is read. They reveal how the dead were positioned within their world. From the skull, proportions can be measured, features rebuilt. A face shaped not by preservation but by careful inference. Some faces survive by chance. Others endure because power leaves traces behind. Further south, identity would be bound not to objects, but to authority itself. This burial was not placed in open land. It lay beneath stone and structure inside a building that once stood above it. The grave was not isolated. It was integrated into architecture. Two people were buried together, a man and a woman. Their bodies shared the same space, but the objects placed with them did not carry the same weight. With her, a silver diadem was found. Thin, worked, deliberate. Objects like this were not casual possessions. They marked position within a defined social order. The diadem was not meant to decorate. It signaled recognition. Items of this type appear only in specific contexts, where authority was formal and visible. The placement of the burial mattered. It lay beneath a structure that had purpose above ground. Space was organized vertically, activity above, authority below. Here, status was not expressed through movement or display. It was fixed in place, reinforced by stone, repetition, and setting. From the skull, proportions could be measured. Bone preserves structure, not identity. Reconstruction restores scale, alignment, and presence, but not personality. What emerges is not a portrait. It is a marker, evidence that position could be material, architectural, and enduring. In this context, identity was not inferred from appearance. It was anchored in role, location, and association. Across thousands of years, these 5 individuals were separated by time, place, and culture. What connects them is not how clearly we can see their faces, but how much evidence survived to let us try. What survives from the past is never equal, and that imbalance shapes how cautiously we can reconstruct what came before. Sometimes a face remains, other times only context is left to speak.